Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive? Today we're going to be tackling Cardano.
Yeah, super interesting stuff, especially if you're just getting started with all this crypto stuff.
Definitely. It can seem a little intimidating at first, all this blockchain and whatnot, but we're going to break it down, make it nice and easy to understand. So think of it like this. You're trying to pick a new phone, right? You got your iOS, your Android,
Uh-huh.
Cardano, and say Ethereum. They're kind of like that, different platforms.
Yeah, good analogy. Like different operating systems, but for building, well, pretty much anything you can imagine, really.
Exactly.
Cardano wants to be the platform for these decentralized applications. dApps is what the cool kids call them.
dApps, okay, catchy.
They're like, apps on your phone, but like powered by blockchain. And ADA, that's Cardano's cryptocurrency. That's the fuel. Makes it all go.
Okay, so apps on my phone, but with blockchain. That's where I get a little lost, to be honest.
All right, so blockchain. Imagine like this giant digital ledger, right? Everyone can see it, totally transparent, and like nobody can mess with it. Super secure.
Gotcha. So ADA powers these dApps on Cardano, but what else can you actually do with ADA?
Oh, tons of stuff. You can hold on to it like as an investment, like gold or
Oh,
something.
okay.
Or you can send and receive it like super fast, basically digital cash.
Hmm.
And get this, you can even use it to like earn rewards through staking.
Staking. Hold on. What is it? Is this like some kind of crypto gardening term? What's staking?
Uh-huh. No, no. Think of it like a savings account almost. Your ADA helps keep the network secure, and you earn more ADA just for doing that.
So my ADA is just sitting there, but it's helping the network and I'm getting more ADA.
Pretty much. It's one
Nice.
of the ways Cardano tries to be, more user-friendly and rewarding for everyone.
So I've also heard that Cardano's like really trying to solve some of these big blockchain problems, make it more secure, make it faster, and like give the people who hold ADA a real say in how it's run.
Right. It's all about making blockchain technology, more efficient, bigger, and fairer, like a level playing field.
So it's not just about the tech, it's about how people actually use it and govern it.
100%. And one of the things that makes Cardano different is this two-layer system.
Two layers.
Yeah. Imagine like a double-decker bus.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
One layer is all about ADA, like zooming around, transactions and stuff. That's the engine.
Cool. So like the bottom level, we're cruising down the blockchain highway. What's happening upstairs?
That's where the smarts are, the brains, the computational layer. That's where all the smart contracts and dApps do their thing.
Smart contracts. Is that like some kind of like digital agreement thing?
Yep, like a contract, but it like executes itself automatically when certain things happen. No middleman needed.
Wow, so it's like automating like agreements and payments and stuff.
Exactly. And that two-layer system, that's how Cardano keeps things organized and running smoothly.
Pretty slick. Now, we talked a bit about this proof of stake thing earlier.
Right.
What's that all about and why is it such a big deal for Cardano?
Okay, so proof of stake, that's how Cardano makes sure everything's secure and fair. Remember staking?
Yeah.
So with proof of stake, the more ADA you stake, the more say you have in like validating transactions, making sure the network's ticking along nicely.
So it's like a voting system, but your votes, they depend on how much ADA you're staking.
You got it. It's a way to give the people who believe in Cardano a voice. The ones who are actually invested in it.
Makes sense. Little ADA democracy. So we've covered a lot here. We've got ADA, blockchain, this two-layer system, proof of stake. Anything else we absolutely need to cover before we move on for those folks just starting to dip their toes into this crypto world?
Well, it's worth remembering that Cardano, it's still pretty new compared to some of the big names out there.
Okay.
But the thing is, they're constantly innovating, making things better, always building on like solid scientific research. It's not just like some random idea they threw together.
So they're really committed to building something that lasts, something that works.
Absolutely. And that focus on research, that's a big part of what attracts people to Cardano.
I can see why. It sounds like they're really taking the long view.
They are, and that's something to keep in mind as we explore all the cool stuff Cardano can do.
All right, well, let's keep exploring then. So you mentioned that Cardano is built on like all this scientific research.
Yeah.
What does that mean for someone who's using ADA though? Like how does that translate into benefits?
Well, you can trust the security.
Okay.
They take a really, really rigorous approach, publishing research, having experts review it, all that.
So it's not just about the tech being like fancy. It's got to be reliable too.
Exactly.
That's good to hear, especially with all these stories you hear about crypto being hacked and all that.
Yeah, for sure. And that rigor, that goes for how they develop Cardano too, upgrading it, changing things up.
Yeah, you mentioned the ADA holders getting a say in all that earlier.
Right.
To be honest, I'm still not 100% clear on how that whole thing works.
It's actually pretty straightforward. Anyone holding ADA, They can vote on changes, new features, all of that.
Okay.
And the more ADA you've got, the more your vote counts. It's all about the community deciding where Cardano goes.
So kind of like a direct democracy for ADA holders.
Exactly.
I like that.
Gives people a real sense of ownership.
Right, right. So we keep coming back to this two-layer system.
Yeah.
I get that it helps with efficiency and all that.
Uh-huh.
But can you give me an example of how that actually plays out in real life?
Sure. Think about like buying a coffee with ADA. That transaction,
Yeah.
that happens on the settlement layer.
Uh-huh.
Super fast, really low fees.
Okay.
But at the same time, on that other layer,
Yeah, the computational one.
right, you could have a smart contract running a loyalty program or something. So you buy your coffee, boom, you get points automatically added to your account.
So it's like two separate things working together?
Yep, totally.
One handles the simple stuff,
Exactly.
and the other takes care of the more complicated stuff.
Yep. And by keeping them separate, Cardano can handle way more transactions.
Okay.
Doesn't get bogged down. That's super important when we're talking about scalability.
Scalability. That's like a buzzword you hear all the time.
It is.
Why is it so important for Cardano?
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
If Cardano wants to be used for like everyday things,
Uh-huh.
payments, running complex applications, all that, it needs to be able to handle a ton of transactions
Right.
really quickly and efficiently.
So like a small road versus a huge highway.
Yeah, good analogy.
Got to have the infrastructure to support all that traffic.
Exactly. And Cardano two-layer system, that's part of how they're doing that.
Okay, makes sense. Now let's loop back to this proof-of-stake system, Ouroboros.
Right.
You said it's really secure and energy efficient,
Yeah.
but how does it actually work compared to, other systems out there?
Okay, so some blockchains, like Bitcoin,
Yeah?
they use proof of work, which basically uses a ton of computing power to solve these crazy math problems.
Right, right. Like a race to see who can crunch numbers the fastest.
Pretty much.
And that uses a lot of energy, right?
It does. That's why Cardano went a different route with Ouroboros.
Okay.
Instead of all that raw computing power, they use a more elegant math approach to choose who validates transactions and adds them to the blockchain.
So it's less about brute force, more about smart algorithms.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. And that makes it more energy efficient,
Way more.
which is good for, the planet and all that.
Absolutely important for Cardano's future.
Right, right. Now let's talk about the Daedalus wallet again.
Sure.
You mentioned that it gives users a lot of control over their funds.
Uh-huh.
Can you break that down a bit for someone who's brand new to all this crypto stuff?
Sure. So when you're using Delis, you control your private keys.
Okay,
Those are like the secret codes to access your ODA.
gotcha.
It's not like some online wallets where you're trusting someone else to keep your crypto safe.
So it's more like your own personal vault
Exactly.
and trusting someone else to hold the keys.
Yeah. And with Daedalus, you can stake your ADA straight from the wallet. Super easy to get involved in the network. Start earning those rewards we talked about.
That's handy. Sounds like they really put a lot of thought into making Daedalus user-friendly.
They did.
Okay, cool. So we've talked a lot about Cardano's strengths,
Mm-hmm.
all the potential and everything.
Yeah.
But let's be real.
Right.
No tech is perfect. What are some of the challenges Cardano's facing?
Well, for one, Cardano's still pretty young, right?
Yeah.
Compared to Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Uh-huh.
It takes time to build that solid track record to get everyone on board.
Right, like a new company trying to, make a name for itself.
Yeah, exactly. And this crypto world, it's constantly changing. New projects popping up all the time.
It's got to be tough to keep up.
It is. You can't just have a good idea. You got to keep innovating, proving yourself.
I can imagine.
But Cardano's got this really passionate community. Developers, supporters, they all believe in it.
Yeah.
And they're always working on new stuff, upgrades, partnerships, all that.
So it's more of a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. And it's good to remember that this whole blockchain thing, it's still evolving. Nobody knows exactly where it's going.
Now, I can't let you go without asking about the brains behind Cardano.
Uh-huh.
We talked about Charles Hoskinson, Jeremy Wood.
Right.
Tell me a little bit more about them. What's their vision for Cardano?
Well, Charles Hoskinson, he's a big name in the crypto world.
Yeah.
He actually co-founded Ethereum
Oh, wow.
before starting Cardano.
So he knows his stuff.
He does, but he felt like, the existing platforms had some limitations. He wanted to build something better, something more scalable, more secure,
Yeah.
more sustainable. He imagined this platform that could be used for everything.
Wow, pretty ambitious.
It was. And Jeremy Wood, he's a super talented software engineer, entrepreneur.
Uh-huh.
He's been involved in building Cardano from the very beginning. And together they've built this amazing team,
Yeah.
developers, researchers, all working to make this vision a reality.
It's wild how a few people with a big idea can make such a huge impact.
It is. So they've got the vision, they've got the team, they've got the tech.
What's next for Cardano?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
It's still pretty early, they're always working on new things, making the platform better, working with other projects to get Cardano out there.
Right.
One of the big things they're focused on now is like building dApps that actually solve real-world problems.
So it's not just about the tech for tech's sake. It's about making a difference.
Exactly. That's what makes it so exciting. It has the potential to like change how we use tech, how we interact with each other.
Well, before we wrap up our deep dive here on Cardano, I want to bring it back to our listeners.
Sounds good.
So we've covered like a ton of stuff about Cardano,
Yeah, we have.
from how it works to what they're hoping to achieve.
Right.
For someone who's like totally new to this whole crypto world, what are the key things you think they should walk away with from this deep dive?
I think the biggest thing is Cardano, it's not just another coin.
Right.
It's this platform that's trying to build, a better future.
Okay.
More decentralized, more secure, all that.
We talked about a lot of technical stuff,
We did.
but it seems like all that, it's all in service of that bigger vision.
Exactly. And it might be new, but it's definitely something worth keeping an eye on.
So if someone's listening and they're like, okay, Cardano, I'm interested, but where do I even begin? What would you say? What's the first step?
Just learn as much as you can.
Okay.
The Cardano Foundation website, that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
Tons of information there.
And don't forget about the community, right?
Oh, yeah, super important. The Cardano community, they're really active, really supportive.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, you can find them on Twitter, Reddit, Telegram, all over the place.
Good way to connect with other people who are, interested in this stuff.
Yeah, learn from each other, share ideas.
So if you're out there listening and you're intrigued by what you've heard today, jump in.
Yeah,
Check out those resources. Join the community.
you'll find plenty of folks who are happy to help you out.
Now, before we sign off, I want to leave our listeners with a little something to think about.
Okay.
We've learned all about Cardano today.
Uh-huh.
What feature, what aspect of it, what excites you the most?
For me, it's the potential. It's not just about the tech itself. It's about what you can do with it,
Right.
They're building solutions for real problems.
Okay.
Supply chains, identity, even voting.
It's kind of mind-blowing.
It is, right? This tech, it could change so much.
And that's what I love about Cardano.
Yeah,
It's not just about, like, making money. It's about making things better.
100%.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive on Cardano.
It has been a journey.
It has a huge thank you to everyone out there listening.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
We hope you learned something cool today.
Keep those brains buzzing.
And we'll catch you on the next deep dive.